Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fluent with Looki. I am Looki, and I am so happy you are here with me today. Do you sometimes feel like you are very small? Like you are not good enough? Like other people know more, have more money, or speak English better than you? It is okay. Many people feel this way. This feeling has a name: imposter syndrome. But how can we change this feeling? How can we go from feeling small to feeling strong and tall? Today, we will learn English with a great story. This story is not just a story, it is an English lesson. We will follow a person named David. David is a good person. He has dreams, but he is a little afraid. He is going to a new place, a new world. Through David's story, you will learn new English words. You will learn about feelings, and you will learn how to be brave. Are you ready? Let's start. Chapter 1. The First Step. The rain was falling hard on the roof of the small bus station. Drip, drip, drip. David sat on a hard plastic chair. He held a bus ticket in his hand. It was a one-way ticket. One way, no return. His phone made a sound. Ding! It was a message from his father. "Hello, son. It is not too late. Come home. The farm needs you." David looked at the phone. He felt a tight feeling in his throat. He loved his family. He loved his father. But he did not like the farm. He did not like the mud. He did not like the quiet. He did not like the slow life. David had a paper. It was a paper for architecture, a degree. But this paper was just sitting at home. It was getting old, getting dust. He wanted to build big, tall buildings, skyscrapers. He wanted to make lines on paper that became steel and glass. But in his small town, people only built fences for animals. "No," David said very softly. He wrote a message back. "I cannot, Dad. I must try. I must see what I can do." The bus came. It made a loud noise. Screech. The driver opened the door. "Bus to big city. Everyone get on," the driver yelled. David stood up. His legs felt heavy, like stone. This was it. This was the moment. He walked onto the bus. He left his safe place, his home. He left everything behind. English lesson. New words for new beginnings. Wow, David is very brave. He's leaving everything. Let's learn some English words from this part of the story. Falling hard. I said the rain was falling hard. This means the rain was very, very strong. Much rain, big drops. Example, today the rain is falling hard. Take an umbrella. Looki says, think of a big drum. Boom, boom. The rain is like that, falling hard. A tight feeling in his throat. David felt a tight feeling in his throat. Does he have a sickness? No. This is a feeling you have when you are sad or when you want to cry. Your throat feels small. Example, when I saw my old friend, I had a tight feeling in my throat. I was so happy. Looki says, imagine you are trying to sing, but your voice is stuck. That's a tight feeling in your throat. Getting dust. His paper, his degree, was getting dust. This means he was not using it. It was just sitting there, becoming old. Example, my old bicycle is getting dust in the garage. I need to ride it. Looki says, dust is small gray dirt. If something has dust, it means no one is touching it. No one is using it. David is on the bus now. He is going to the big city. What happens when he arrives? Is it scary? Let's continue the story. Chapter 2. The Big City Jungle. 4 hours later, the bus stopped with a soft hiss. Psst. David stepped out onto the street. He immediately felt very small. The big city was not just a city. It was like a very, very big animal, a beast. The noise was so loud, too loud. Cars made loud sounds, honk, honk.
Police cars made loud sounds, siren, siren, and thousands of people walked very fast, like a river, splash, splash. He looked up. The buildings were so big, enormous. They touched the sky. They made the sun disappear. This was a true concrete jungle. David looked at his phone. He needed to find his hotel. The address was on the other side of the city. He tried to ask a man for help. "Excuse me, sir, can you please?" The man did not stop. He just walked past David very fast. He checked his watch. He did not see David. David tried again. A woman in a nice suit. "Sorry, I am looking for—" "Move," she said quickly. She did not look at him. She just walked past. David stood still, like a statue on the street corner. In his small town, everyone said hello. Everyone waved. Here, he was invisible. No one saw him. He held his bag tighter. "Okay, David," he said to himself, "you wanted the big city. Well, here it is. You must win or lose." English Lesson 2. City Life and Challenges. Welcome to the big city. It is loud, it is fast, and sometimes it is not very friendly. Let's learn some English words from this part of the story. So loud. I said the noise was so loud. This means the sound was very big. It hurt his ears. Example: the music at the party was so loud I could not hear my friend. Looki says, imagine someone shouting right into your ear. That's so loud. Concrete jungle. This is a famous way to say big city. A jungle is wild, many trees, many animals. A city has many buildings made of concrete. So, a concrete jungle is a city that is wild. It is difficult to live in, very competitive. Example: New York City is a famous concrete jungle. Looki says, think of a tiger in a real jungle. It must be strong to live there. A person in a concrete jungle must also be strong. Walked past very fast. The man walked past David very fast. This means he went by quickly. Maybe he touched him a little, but he did not stop. He did not care. Example: I was late, so I just walked past my friends very fast without stopping. Looki says, imagine a train passing a small station. It does not stop. It just walks past very fast. Said quickly. The woman said quickly. This means she spoke fast and maybe a little bit angry, not friendly. Example: my teacher said quickly, do your homework. Looki says, imagine a small dog barking, woof woof, short and quick. Win or lose. This is a very important phrase. You must win or lose. This means you are in a difficult situation. You will either succeed with your own power, win, or you will fail completely, lose. No one will help you. Example: for this test, it is win or lose. I must study hard. Looki says, imagine a swimming pool. You either swim and stay up, or you sink and go down. Win or lose. David decided to win. He decided to swim. But to swim in this city, he needs money. And to get money, he needs a job. What kind of job can David find? Chapter 3. The Big Interview. The next morning, David put on his only good suit. It was a little tight on his shoulders. The style was old, not new, but it was all he had. He stood in the front room of Big Plans Architecture. This was the biggest company in the city. The floor was shiny, made of marble. The desk for the reception looked like a spaceship. Everything here said money. "Mr. David?" a voice called. He walked into a room with glass walls. Behind a very big desk sat Mr. Stone. He did not smile. He did not stand up. He just pointed to a chair. "Sit." Chapter 2. The Big City Jungle. 4 hours later, the bus stopped with a soft hiss. Pfft. David stepped out onto the street. He immediately felt very small. The big city was not just a city, it was like a very, very big animal. A beast. The noise was so loud. Too loud. Cars made loud sounds. Honk, honk. Police cars made loud sounds. Siren, siren. And thousands of people walked very fast, like a river. Splash, splash. He looked up. The buildings were so big, enormous. They touched the sky. They made the sun disappear. This was a true concrete jungle. David looked at his phone. He needed to find his hotel. The address was on the other side of the city. He tried to ask a man for help. "Excuse me, sir, can you please?" The man did not stop. He just walked past David very fast. He checked his watch. He did not see David. David tried again, a woman in a nice suit. "Sorry, I am looking for—" "Move," she said quickly. She did not look at him. She just walked past. David stood still, like a statue on the street corner. In his small town, everyone said hello. Everyone waved. Here, he was invisible. No one saw him. He held his bag tighter. "Okay, David," he said to himself. "You wanted the big city. Well, here it is. You must win or lose." English Lesson 2. City Life and Challenges. Welcome to the big city. It is loud, it is fast, and sometimes it is not very friendly. Let's learn some English words from this part of the story. So loud. I said the noise was so loud. This means the sound was very, very big. It hurt his ears. Example, the music at the party was so loud, I could not hear my friend. Looki says, imagine someone shouting right into your ear. That's so loud. Concrete jungle. This is a famous way to say big city. A jungle is wild, many trees, many animals. A city has many buildings made of concrete. So a concrete jungle is a city that is wild. It is difficult to live in, very competitive. Example, New York City is a famous concrete jungle. Looki says, think of a tiger in a real jungle. It must be strong to live there. A person in a concrete jungle must also be strong. Walked past very fast. The man walked past David very fast. This means he went by quickly. Maybe he touched David a little, but he did not stop. He did not care. Example, I was late, so I just walked past my friends very fast without stopping. Looki says, imagine a train passing a small station. It does not stop. It just walks past very fast. Said quickly. The woman said quickly. This means she spoke fast and maybe a little angry, not friendly. Example, my teacher said quickly, do your homework. Looki says, imagine a small dog barking, woof, woof, short and quick. Win or lose. This is a very important phrase. You must win or lose. This means you are in a difficult situation. You will either succeed with your own power, win, or fail completely. No one will help you. Example, for this test, it is win or lose. I must study hard. Looki says, imagine a swimming pool. You either swim and stay up, or you sink and go down. Win or lose. David decided to win. He decided to swim. But to swim in this city, he needs money. And to get money, he needs a job. What kind of job can David find? Chapter 3. The Big Interview. The next morning, David put on his only good suit. It was a little tight on his shoulders. The style was old, not new, but it was all he had. He stood in the front room of Big Plans Architecture. This was the biggest company in the city. The floor was shiny, made of marble. The desk for the reception looked like a spaceship. Everything here said money. Mr. David, a voice called. He walked into a room with glass walls. Behind a very big desk sat Mr. Stone. He did not smile. He did not stand up. He just pointed to a chair. Sit. Thrown in the deep end. Imagine a swimming pool. The deep end is where the water is very deep. If you throw someone in the deep end, you put them in a very difficult situation immediately. No training, no help. On my first day at my new job, I was thrown in the deep end. I had to manage a big project alone. Looki says, like jumping into the sea without knowing how to swim, very hard. Voice was like a dog barking. I said Mr. Stone barked his orders. Dogs bark. Woof, woof. But when a person barks, it means they speak short, angry commands. It shows he is a rude boss. My boss always barks at us when he is angry. Looki says, think of a guard dog. Its voice is not friendly. Voice stammered. David's voice stammered. This happens when you are nervous. You repeat sounds. But, sir, that is stammering. It shows you are not confident. When I met the famous singer, I stammered. I was so excited. Looki says, like your tongue is stuck in your mouth for a second. Looking at their screens very carefully. The other workers were looking at their screens very carefully. This means they were looking at the computer so much, very focused. They did not see anything else. They were ignoring David. My children are always looking at their phone screens very carefully. Looki says, imagine glue. You are stuck to the screen. You cannot move your eyes. David has a short time, a rude boss, and a computer error. How can he fix this? He needs a friend. He needs help. Let's meet a new person in Chapter 5. Fluent with Looki, Segment 2, Finding a Friend. Chapter 5, A Helping Hand. David looked at the access denied message for 10 minutes. He was sweating, water on his skin. He was afraid to ask Mr. Stone for help. That would make him look like he did not know his job. Not good. Suddenly, a chair moved. Vroom! It rolled to his desk. You are using the wrong computer path, new guy, a voice said. David looked up. It was a woman. She had bright blue glasses. Her hair was a little messy. She held a cup of coffee. It looked like her 5th coffee cup today. I'm Maria, she said. She typed a code on David's keyboard. The screen changed to green. Access granted. Thank you, David said. He let out a big breath. I thought I would lose my job on the first day. Maria laughed. Stone likes to test new people. He gives you very difficult tasks to see if you break. Break? Asked David. Yes, give up, quit, cry in the bathroom, Maria said. She listed them. The last new guy stayed only 3 days. Do not let Stone make you angry. Just do your work, and if you need coffee, the machine is in the back. It tastes bad, like mud, but it keeps you awake. David smiled. For the first time in many days, he had a friend, or at least he was not alone anymore. English Lesson 5, Office Language and Advice. Finally, a friendly face. Maria saved David. Let's learn the common English words she used in the office. New guy. She called him new guy. This is a very common American slang word. It means a beginner, someone new to the team or the job. It's a little bit like teasing, but not mean. The new guy in our class is very shy. Looki says, imagine a baby animal. It's the new guy in the animal family. Did not know his job. David did not want to look like he did not know his job. This is the opposite of knowing your job well. If you know your job well, you're good at it. If you don't know your job, you are bad at it. It's a very strong word in business. The manager fired him because he did not know his job. Looki says, imagine someone trying to drive a car, but they don't know how. They don't know their job. See if you break. Maria said Mr. Stone wants to see if you break. When there is a lot of pressure, things can break. Here, break means to have a mental problem, to give up because the stress is too much. Under all that pressure, some people just break. Looki says, imagine a glass. If you push it too hard, it will break. A person can also break. Do not let him make you angry. She said, do not let him make you angry. If someone makes you angry, you cannot stop thinking about them. They annoy you. If you let a person make you angry, it means you let them upset you. Example, do not let bad comments make you angry. Looki says, imagine a mosquito. It flies near your ear. It makes you angry. Do not let people be like mosquitoes. With Maria's help, David has access. Now the real work starts. He has to design something great in 4 days. Let's go to Chapter 6. Chapter 6, Working Hard. For the next 3 days, David lived in the office. He arrived before the sun came up in the morning, and he left long after the cleaners finished cleaning. He was working all the time. His eyes were red. His back hurt from sitting in the cheap office chair. But slowly, his design started to look real. It started to take shape. He did not just design an entrance, he designed a feeling, an experience. He used glass to catch the sunlight and water in a fountain to make it calm. It was beautiful. It was strong. It was a little risky. On Thursday night at 2 a.m., he finished the last picture, the final render. He sat back. He looked at the screen. It was the best work of his life, his masterpiece. Just then, his computer screen went unstable. Flicker, flicker. A strange noise came from the computer. Buzz, buzz. Click, click, click. Then the screen went black, total black. David stopped moving. He tapped the mouse. Nothing. He pushed the power button. Nothing. The quiet in the office was very scary. Did he save his work, or did the computer just eat his best work, his masterpiece? English Lesson 6. Hard work and big problems. Oh no, this is a very bad dream for anyone who works with computers. Every person's biggest fear. Let's learn the phrases and words here. Working all the time. I said David was working all the time. This means working early in the morning and late at night with very little sleep. He was using all his energy. Example, my friend is working all the time to finish his new book. Looki says, imagine a battery. If you use it all the time, it will die fast. David was like that. Started to look real. When an idea or a project starts to look real and organized, we say it started to look real. It is not just a mess anymore. It has a form, a shape. Example, after many drawings, my new house design started to look real. Looki says, imagine a baby growing. It starts small, then it starts to look real, like a person. A little risky. His design was a little risky. This means it was a little bit dangerous or uncertain. In creative work, risky can be good, new and different, or bad, crazy. David took a chance. Example, eating that old food was a little risky. Looki says, imagine walking on a thin rope. It is a little risky. His best work of his life. He called it his best work of his life. This is the best work an artist or creator has ever done. The famous painting Mona Lisa is Leonardo da Vinci's best work of his life. David thinks this entrance design is his best work. Example, this song is the singer's best work of his life. Looki says, imagine a mountain. If you climb the highest mountain, it is your best work. But the screen is black. Did he lose everything? Is his job finished before it even started? Let's find out in Chapter 7. Chapter 7. The Last Hope. David quickly went under the desk. He checked the wires. Everything was connected. He pushed the power button again. The computer made a sick, loud, grinding noise, but it stayed dark, black. No, 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 David whispered. Panic grew in his chest. He looked around the empty office. He was alone. Maria had gone home many hours ago. He remembered the computer guy Tom talking about a backup system. It saved files at midnight. Did it save tonight? Or had David been working without the internet to make the computer faster? A cold sweat appeared on his forehead. What? The presentation with Mr. Stone and the customer was in 6 hours. If he went to that meeting with nothing, he would not just lose his job, he would be on a bad list. No other company would hire him. He had two choices: give up and go back to his town, or try to fix the impossible. He grabbed his phone. He called Maria. It rang 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. "Pick up, pick up, pick up," he said softly. English Lesson 7. Panic and Problems. The feeling is very strong. David is in a big problem with technology. Let's learn the words for panic and trouble. Quickly went under. David quickly went under the desk. To quickly go means to move fast and in a not smooth way, using your hands and feet. It shows he was desperate and in a hurry. Example: the child quickly went under the bed to hide. Looki says, imagine a small animal running fast to hide. It quickly goes. Cold sweat. A cold sweat appeared on his forehead. You sweat when you exercise, hot sweat. But when you are very afraid or shocked, you get a cold sweat. It is a body sign of extreme fear. Example: I woke up from a bad dream in a cold sweat. Looki says, your body feels cold, but water comes out. Very scary. With nothing. If he went to the meeting with nothing. This means going to a place without the thing you were supposed to bring. A gift, a report, a result. Example: do not go to the party with nothing. Bring some food. Looki says, imagine a baker going to work without flour. Nothing to do. On a bad list. He would be on a bad list. This is a serious business term. A bad list is a list of people who are not allowed to work or not trusted. If you are on a bad list, no other company will hire you. Your good name is broken. Example: after he stole money, he was on a bad list in the company. Looki says, imagine a list of naughty children, no good for work. Maria is not answering. The time is moving fast. Tick-tock. Can David save his project? Let's see what happens in Chapter 8. Chapter 8. Old School Solution. Finally, a sleepy voice answered. David, it's 3 a.m. The office better be on fire. Maria, the computer died. It's dead. Everything is gone, David said. His voice was breaking. Maria was quiet for a second. Then her voice changed. She was immediately awake. Did you save to the internet cloud? I don't know. I think I was working on the computer itself because the internet was slow. Maria said a bad word very softly. Okay, listen to me. Do not touch the computer. I am coming to the office. But David, even if we fix the computer, the file might be broken. Do you have another plan? David looked at his desk. It was full of coffee cups and messy notes. But under a pile of papers, he saw his drawing book, his sketchbook. It had his first hand drawings. They were not perfect computer pictures. They were rough, messy, pencil drawings. I have my sketches, David said quietly. Better than nothing, Maria said. Start taking pictures of them. If technology does not work, we go old style. English Lesson 8. Backup plans and old ways. We are going old style. I love that phrase. Let's learn the English words here. Voice was breaking. I said his voice was breaking. When you are about to cry or you are very stressed, your voice changes. It shows strong feelings. Example, her voice was breaking when she told me the sad news. Looki says, your body feels cold, but water comes out. Very scary. File might be broken. The file might be broken. In computers, a broken file is damaged. It cannot be opened. It is useless. Example, my important document is broken. I cannot open it. Looki says, imagine a toy car with a broken wheel. You cannot use it. Another plan. Does he have another plan? Plan A is your first choice. Another plan, Plan B, is your backup plan when things go wrong. Everyone needs another plan. Example, if it rains, we need another plan for our picnic. Looki says, always have two ways to do something. If one way fails, use another. David has his hand drawings. It is a big risk, but it is his only hope. He must present his simple sketches to Mr. Stone and the important customer. What will happen? Let's go to Chapter 9. Segment 3. The Presentation. Chapter 9. The Meeting Room. At 9 a.m. sharp, the doors to the meeting room opened. Mr. Stone sat at the main chair. Next to him was the customer, Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith was a man famous for firing architects just for wearing the wrong colored shirt. Maria had managed to get some computer data back, but the 3D video, the wow factor, was gone. David had to use his hand sketches and his words. He stood up. His hands were shaking, but he remembered his father's message, see what you can do. He placed the sketches on the table. No fancy screens, just paper and pencil. Mr. Smith, David began. His voice was surprisingly strong. Computers are perfect, but life is not perfect. Your entrance should not look like a machine made it. It should feel human. He pointed to the sketch of the water fountain. This is not just a fountain. It is the sound of rain in a dry city. It is a place to breathe. The room was very quiet. So quiet, you could hear a pin drop. Mr. Stone looked like he was about to get very angry because there was no technology. Mr. Smith leaned forward. He looked closely at the drawing. He traced a line on the paper with his finger. Rain in a dry city, Mr. Smith said very softly. He looked up at David. Continue. English Lesson 9. High Stakes and Soft Voices. Wow, David turned a big problem into a clever idea. He sold the feeling, not the computer image. Let's learn the strong English words here. Wow factor. The wow factor was gone. This is a business phrase. It is the special quality that makes people say, wow. It is the very impressive part of a product or a presentation. Example, the new phone has a great camera. That is its wow factor. Looki says, imagine a magic trick that makes you gasp. That is the wow factor. Had to use. He had to use his sketches. To have to use means to depend on, to trust. When everything else fails, what do you have to use? Example, I had to use my bicycle because my car was broken. Looki says, imagine a hungry person. They have to use food to live. You could hear a pin drop. The room was so quiet, you could hear a pin drop. A pin is very small and quiet. If you can hear it drop, the room is completely, very quietly silent. We use this for moments when people are very nervous or focused. Example, before the big announcement, the room was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Looki says, imagine a library. It is usually so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Said very softly. Mr. Smith said very softly. To say very softly means to speak very quietly, almost to yourself. It usually shows deep thought or a private comment. Example, she said very softly, I love this. Looki says, like a secret, you say it very softly. Mr. Smith is interested, but Mr. Stone is angry. Did David save his job, or did he just delay the inevitable bad news? Let's find out the result in Chapter 10. Chapter 10. The Verdict. The meeting finished. Mr. Stone shook David's hand, a strong, respectful handshake, and then he left the room. Now it was just David and Mr. Stone. Mr. Stone stood up slowly. He walked to the window. He looked out at the city. David held his breath. He waited for the yelling to start. He waited to be fired. You took a very big risk today, Mr. Stone said. His back was turned. Showing hand sketches to a rich technology man? It was dangerous. David swallowed. I had no choice, sir. The computer stopped working. Mr. Stone turned around. For the first time ever, the corner of his mouth moved a little. A smile? Almost. He loved it, Mr. Stone said. Mr. Smith said it was the most real idea he has heard in 10 years. He signed the contract. David felt his legs get weak. He fell into a chair. But David, Mr. Stone added, his voice became sharp again, if you ever come to a meeting without a computer backup again, I will throw you out of this window myself. Understood? Understood, sir, David said. He was smiling like a silly person. Good. Now go home and sleep. You look very bad. David walked out of the office. He walked past Maria. He gave her a high five, and he stepped out onto the street. The noise of the city did not feel so loud anymore. It felt like applause, like people clapping for him. He did it. David survived the concrete jungle. What a happy ending. Let's learn the final words for success. The verdict. The chapter is called The Verdict. This is a legal word. In court, the judge gives a verdict, guilty or not guilty. In common English, it means the final decision or opinion. Example, what is the verdict? Did we win the game? Looki says, imagine a competition. The verdict is who won. Dangerous. Mr. Stone called him dangerous. This means doing something risky without thinking about the results. Driving too fast is dangerous. Spending all your money on a lottery ticket is dangerous. It is dangerous to walk alone at night. Looki says, imagine a wild animal. It is dangerous. David's action was a bit like that. Most real idea. Mr. Smith said the idea was the most real idea. This is a beautiful word. It means real, true, not fake. In a world of fake social media, being real is very important. Example, her art is very real. It shows true feelings. Looki says, imagine a real flower, not a plastic one. It is real. Fell into a chair. David fell into a chair. When you lose all energy in your body and fall heavily into a seat, you fall. It shows relief or great tiredness. After running the race, I fell into a chair. I was so tired. Looki says, imagine a puppet with no strings. It just drops. Smiling like a silly person. He was smiling like a silly person. A grin is a big, wide smile. If you smile like a silly person, you are smiling very much. You cannot stop because you are so happy. You do not care how you look. After winning the prize, she was smiling like a silly person. Looki says, imagine a child who just got a big ice cream. So happy. And that is the end of story 1. David went from a scared boy on a bus to a successful architect. He learned that mistakes happen, but how you react to them defines you. It shows who you are. But our learning journey today is not finished. Are you ready for something a little mysterious, a little dark? Our next story takes us on a train ride where nothing is what it seems. Get ready for story 2, The Midnight Train. Segment 4, The Midnight Train. Hello again, Fluent with Looki friends. I am Looki and I am excited for our next story. Have you ever looked at a stranger on a train or a bus and wondered, what is inside their bag? Maybe it's just clothes. Maybe it's a computer. Or maybe it's a secret. A big secret that could change your life. In our next story, we meet Elena. Elena is bored. She thinks her life is normal, not exciting. She wants an adventure. Be careful what you wish for. This story will help you with English tenses. We will use past continuous to tell the background and past simple for sudden actions. We will also learn words for mystery, suspicion, and travel. Let's get on the midnight train. Chapter 1. The Stranger on the Train. The train station smelled of old coffee and gas. It was 11:59 p.m., almost midnight. The platform was almost empty. Only one light above was flickering. It made a buzzing sound, like an angry insect. Elena pulled her coat tighter. She was taking the night train to a city called Vienna. She just wanted to sleep. She just wanted to forget her boring job and her recent breakup with her boyfriend. She walked onto the train. She found her cabin, room 4A. But someone was already there. A man was sitting in the corner. He wore a long, dark coat. A hat was low over his eyes. He did not look up when Elena came in. He held a black leather bag on his lap. His hands were very tight. His knuckles were white. "Excuse me," Elena said softly. "I think we are sharing this room." The man jumped. He looked at Elena with wild, scared eyes. He looked like an animal caught in a trap. "Don't touch it," he said with a low, angry voice. He pulled the bag closer to his chest. "I wasn't going to touch it," Elena answered. She stepped back. "I just want to put my bag on the shelf." The man did not relax. He stared at the door, then at the window. He was sweating very much, even though the room was cold. Elena sat down opposite him. She opened her book. She pretended to read, but she was not reading. She was watching him. And she saw something, red on his shirt sleeve. English Lesson 1. Meeting the Mystery. Who is this man? And what is red on his shirt? This is getting scary very fast. Let's learn the English words. Flickering light. I mentioned a flickering light. When a light turns on and off quickly and not steadily, it flickers. It makes a spooky feeling, or a feeling that something is broken. In scary movies, the lights always flicker. Example: the old lamp in the house was flickering. Looki says, imagine a fire. Its light moves fast. That's flickering. Night train. She is on a night train. This is a train with beds. You can sleep there during the night. Have you ever taken a night train? Example: my family took a night train for our vacation. Looki says, a train that is also a hotel for sleeping. Knuckles were white. I said his knuckles were white. Your knuckles are the small bones in your fingers. If you hold something very, very tightly, the blood leaves your skin and your knuckles become white. This phrase shows strong tension or fear. Example: he held the rope with white knuckles. Looki says, squeeze your hand very, very tight. See your white knuckles? Sweating very much. He was sweating very much. This means a lot of water came out of his skin. If you apologize very much, you say sorry many times. If you bleed very much, you lose a lot of blood. Example: after running, I was sweating very much. Looki says, like a running tap, much water. Said with a low, angry voice. He said with a low, angry voice at her. Snakes make this sound, but people make this sound when they whisper angrily and sharply. Do not touch it. Example: the angry man said with a low, angry voice a warning. Looki says, imagine a small tiger. It makes a sharp, angry sound. Elena is stuck in a small room with a scared man, but things are about to get much worse. Let's see what happens in Chapter 2. Chapter 2. The Disappearance. For 2 hours they sat quietly. The only sound was the rhythm of the train wheels. Clack, 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 clack. Elena tried to sleep, but she could not. Every time the man moved, she quickly reacted. She flinched. Suddenly, the train went into a long tunnel. Everything became completely dark. The lights inside the room died. In the dark, Elena heard a small fight, the sound of clothes rubbing, a heavy thud, and then the sound of the room door opening quietly. "Hey," Elena called out. "Is everything all right?" No answer. A minute later, the train came out of the tunnel, into the moonlight. The lights turned on again. Flicker, flicker. Elena looked across the room. The seat was empty. The man was gone. But the black leather bag was still there, sitting on the seat. Elena stood up. She looked into the hallway. Empty. She checked the bathroom. Empty. It was like the man had disappeared completely. She sat back down, staring at the bag. It looked exactly like her own computer bag. Same size, same color. Her curiosity was stronger than her fear. Her hand reached out. She heard the man's voice in her head. Do not touch it. But she could not stop. She opened the zipper of the bag. English Lesson 2. Mystery deepens. Oh, Elena, do not do it. But of course, she has to do it. Let's learn the words for suspense here. Completely dark. The tunnel was completely dark. Completely means totally, like a very black night. You cannot see your own hand in front of your face. Example: the cave was completely dark. I could not see anything. Looki says, imagine a fire. Its light moves fast. That's flickering. Small fight. She heard a small fight. A small fight is a short, confused struggle, close to someone. It is not a big war, just a messy little physical struggle, maybe pushing or shoving. Example: the children had a small fight over the toy. Looki says, imagine 2 cats playing roughly. A small fight. Disappeared completely. The man disappeared completely. This is a classic phrase. It means someone disappeared totally and mysteriously. No trace, no sign. Example: my keys disappeared completely. I cannot find them anywhere. Looki says, imagine magic. 1 second someone is there, the next, gone. Disappeared completely. Her curiosity was stronger than her fear. This means she tried to stop, but her wish to know was stronger. She lost the battle against her own desire to know. We often say this when we do something we should not, just because we want to know the secret. Example: even though it was late, her curiosity was stronger than her fear, so she read the letter. Looki says, your brain tells you no, but your heart says, yes, I want to know. She opened the bag. What is inside? Is it money, a weapon, or something stranger? Let's open it in Chapter 3. Chapter 3. The Secret Diary. Elena pulled the zipper open. Her heart was beating very fast, like a drum. Boom, boom, boom. She expected to see piles of money, or maybe a gun. Instead, she saw old papers. She looked confused. She reached in. She pulled out a group of letters tied with an old red ribbon. Under them was a heavy old golden key and a small leather book, a diary. She opened the diary to the first page. The handwriting was beautiful, but it shook a little. The date was 1945. October 14th. They are coming for us. I have hidden the amber room location in the music box. Do not trust the man with the line on his face. Elena stopped. The amber room? That was a famous lost treasure from World War II. People had been looking for it for many years, decades. Suddenly, the train moved suddenly. Elena looked up. She saw her own bag, the one with her computer and clothes, was not on the shelf above. It was missing. She gasped. During the dark moment, in the confusion, the man had not just left his bag, he had taken hers. Now she was alone on a fast train with a bag of secrets, and a mysterious stranger had her passport and her computer, and somewhere on this train, they were coming. English Lesson 3. The plot thickens. The story becomes more exciting. It is not a crime story anymore. It's a treasure hunt. Let's learn the descriptive words. Heart was beating very fast. Her heart was beating very fast. We used falling hard for rain before. Beating very fast is similar. It means beating heavily and loudly. Example, my heart was beating very fast before my job interview. Looki says, imagine a tiny drummer inside your chest, playing very fast. Group of letters. She found a group of letters. A group is a collection of things tied or wrapped together. A group of sticks, a group of money, a group of clothes. Example, my mother gave me a group of old photos. Looki says, like many friends together, a group. Old red ribbon. The ribbon was old. When something loses its color because of time or sun, it is old. An old t-shirt, an old photograph. It means the object is very old. Example, the old painting on the wall was beautiful. Looki says, imagine a bright flower that has been in the sun for too long. Its color becomes old. Train moved suddenly. The train moved suddenly. To move suddenly means to make a sudden, unsteady movement, forward or sideways. It is not smooth. Example, the car moved suddenly to avoid the dog. Looki says, imagine a drunk person walking. Not smooth, they move suddenly. The plot becomes more exciting. I just used this. The plot becomes more exciting. We say this when a situation becomes more complicated or mysterious than it was before. Example, after finding the secret map, the plot becomes more exciting. Looki says, like a story getting more and more interesting, more layers. Elena has the map to a lost treasure, but she also lost her passport. What should she do? Call the police or read the diary? Let's find out in Chapter 4. Chapter 4. The Man with the Scar. Elena quickly put the diary back into the bag and zipped it closed. She needed to find the conductor, the train worker. She needed to report the theft. She stepped out into the narrow hallway. The train was quiet now. Most passengers were sleeping in their rooms. She walked towards the dining car at the front of the train. The floor was not steady under her feet. As she passed the bathroom, the door clicked open. Elena stopped. A man stepped out. He was tall. He wore a sharp gray suit. He was not the nervous man from her room. This man looked calm, too calm. He looked at Elena. Then his eyes looked down at the black bag in her hand. A slow smile appeared on his face. It was not a friendly smile. It was a hunter's smile. "Heavy bag for a young lady," he said. His voice was smooth like soft cloth, but cold like ice. "Let me help you with that." He reached out a hand. Elena saw a thin white line on his wrist, a scar. The diary's warning flashed in her mind. Do not trust the man with the line on his face. Elena held the bag handle tighter. "No thanks," she said, her voice shaking. "I am fine." "I must," the man said. He took a step closer. The hallway was too narrow to run past him. "Oh no, the bad guy has arrived, and Elena is trapped. Let's learn the words for danger." Quickly put the diary back. She quickly put the diary back. To quickly put something means to push something roughly or carelessly. You do not place it gently, you quickly put it. Example, he quickly put his hands in his pockets when he saw the police. Looki says, imagine throwing something into a box fast. Hunter's smile. It was a hunter's smile. A hunter is an animal that hunts others, like a lion or wolf. If a human has a hunter's smile, they look dangerous, like they are looking at their food. Example, the bad man had a hunter's smile when he saw the money. Looki says, not a friendly smile, a dangerous smile. Voice was smooth like soft cloth. His voice was smooth like soft cloth. Soft cloth is nice and expensive. A smooth voice sounds charming and polite, but it can be fake. It is the opposite of a rough voice. Example, the salesman had a voice smooth like soft cloth. Looki says, imagine silk, very soft. His voice was like that, but dangerous. I must. The man said, I must. This is a polite phrase that means I will not accept no. You can use it nicely, like, please let me pay for dinner, I must. But here, the bad guy uses it as a threat. No, really, I must help you. Looki says, it means you have no choice. Scar. He had a scar. A scar is a mark left on your skin after a cut or wound heals. Harry Potter has a scar on his forehead. This man has one on his wrist. Example, he has a scar on his arm from an old accident. Looki says, a sign from a past injury. The man with the scar wants the bag. Elena is alone in the hallway. How can she escape? She needs to think fast. Let's go to Chapter 5. Segment 4, The Escape and the Truth. Chapter 5, Emergency Stop. The man took another step. He was blocking the only way out. Elena felt the cold window behind her back. Give me the bag, Elena, he said. Elena's blood became cold. How do you know my name? We know everything, he replied. His hand moved slowly towards his jacket pocket. Was he getting a weapon? A gun? Elena looked around wildly. To her left was the door to a sleeping room, locked. To her right, the window, closed tightly. Above her head, a red handle. Emergency brake. Warning. Penalty for wrong use, 500 euros. I do not have 500 euros, Elena thought, but I do not want to die either. As the man moved fast to grab her, Elena jumped up. She pulled the red handle down with all her strength. Screech! The man in the gray suit was thrown off balance. He hit the wall. Elena did not wait. The movement pushed her forward, but she stayed standing. She climbed over the man's legs and ran fast down the hallway towards the exit door. English Lesson 5, Action and Escape. Action movie time. Elena is braver than she looks. Let's learn the verbs of movement and force. Hand moved slowly. His hand moved slowly towards his pocket. Slowly means little by little, very small steps. It builds tension. Example, the snail moved slowly across the leaf. Looki says, imagine a clock's minute hand. It moves slowly. pulled down with all her strength. She pulled down with all her strength the handle. To pull with strength means to pull something suddenly and with great power. You do not pull gently, you pull with strength. Example, he pulled down the heavy curtain with all his strength. Looki says, imagine lifting something very heavy. You need all your strength. Man moved fast. The man moved fast forward. To move fast means to make a sudden forward movement, to attack or grab someone, like a sword fighter. Example, the cat moved fast to catch the mouse. Looki says, like a quick jump forward. She stayed standing. Your footing is how stable your feet are. If you slip, you fall. If you stay standing during a shake, you keep your balance. Example, even on the shaking boat, I stayed standing. Looki says, imagine walking on ice. If you do not fall, you stayed standing. Penalty for wrong use. Warning for wrong use. Use means to use correctly. Wrong use means to use incorrectly or for a bad purpose. Example, the wrong use of medicines can be dangerous. Looki says, like using a spoon to eat soup, but using a fork to eat soup is wrong use. The train has stopped in the middle of nowhere. It is dark outside. Elena is running. Where can she go? Let's jump off the train in Chapter 6. Chapter 6. A Rescuer in the Forest. The flashlight beam moved closer. It hit the tree where Elena was hiding. She closed her eyes, waiting for the hand to grab her. Suddenly, a loud crack echoed through the forest. It was not a gun sound. It was a small tree branch breaking under a heavy shoe, but it came from behind the man in the suit. "Who is there?" the man shouted fast. He turned around fast. "I should ask you the same question," a deep, rough voice replied. Stepping out of the shadows was an old man. He held a big hunting light and a shotgun. He pointed it directly at the man in the suit. "This is my land," the old man said with a low, angry voice. "You are here without permission." The man waited. He looked at the shotgun, then back at the forest where Elena was hiding. He made an unkind face. "This is not finished," he whispered into the dark. Then he turned. He walked back towards the train tracks. Elena waited until his footsteps became quiet. Then, slowly, she crawled out from under the tree roots. The old man lowered his gun. He looked at her. "Well," he said, "you look like you've seen a ghost." Tea? English Lesson 6. Unexpected help. Saved by a local. Sometimes strangers are dangerous, and sometimes they are heroes. Let's learn the words here. You are here without permission. The old man said, "You are here without permission." To be here without permission means to enter someone's land or property without asking. You often see signs that say, "No entry." Example, the children were here without permission in the old house. Looki says, imagine walking into someone's home without knocking. Not allowed. Said with a low, angry voice. The old man said with a low, angry voice. Usually, dogs or wolves make a low, angry sound. When a person makes this sound, they speak in a low, angry, rough voice. It sounds like a threat. Example, the tired father said with a low, angry voice at his noisy children. Looki says, imagine a grumbling stomach, a low, unhappy sound. Said with anger. To say with anger means to speak quickly and with disgust or anger. Example, She said with anger, "I told you not to do that." Looki says, like spitting words out of your mouth. Made an unkind face. The man in the suit made an unkind face. An unkind face is a bad facial expression. You curl your upper lip to show you think someone is stupid or below you. It shows bad feelings. Example, the bully made an unkind face at the smaller boy. Looki says, imagine a look that says, "You are nothing." Became quiet. The footsteps became quiet. To become quiet means to disappear slowly. Sounds become quiet. Colors become quiet. Memories become quiet. Example, the music became quiet at the end of the song. Looki says, imagine a light bulb slowly dimming. It becomes quiet. Elena is safe from the bad guy, but now she is in a stranger's cabin, in the middle of the woods. Can she trust him? Let's enter the cabin in Chapter 7. Chapter 7. A Family Secret. The old man's cabin was small, but warm. A fire made crackling sounds in the fireplace, and the smell of pine trees and wood smoke filled the air. The man, who said his name was Arthur, poured Elena a hot cup of tea. "So," Arthur said. He sat in a rocking chair. "Why was a man in an expensive suit chasing you through my forest?" Elena waited. She held the black bag on her lap. "He wants this," she said quietly. She unzipped the bag. She placed the old diary and the golden key on the wooden table. Arthur's eyes became big. He picked up the key. His hands, rough and thick from work, shook a little. "I have not seen a key like this in 50 years, he whispered. "This is a German safe deposit key from the 1940s. Elena leaned forward. "The diary says it leads to the amber room. Do you know what that is?" Arthur laughed, a dry, rough sound. "The amber room? The eighth wonder of the world? Girl, people have died looking for that. It's a myth, a ghost story." "But the man on the train believed it, and he was willing to hurt me for it." Arthur looked at the diary again. He turned to the last page. His face became pale, white. "This is not just a treasure map," Arthur said very seriously. "This name, Henry, that was my father's brother, my uncle." The room became silent. The fire made a loud pop. Elena realized she had not just found a treasure, she had found a family secret. Thanks for watching.